Join me as I dive deep into the debate and challenge everything you thought you knew about science and the Bible. Misconceptions about science can often stem from misinterpretations of biblical texts. It's a common phenomenon that has led to a lot of confusion and misinformation. Another example is the story of Noah's Ark. While some see this as a historical event, others view it as a myth or allegory. But what if we told you that the story of the flood can be seen as a historical event that was exaggerated and mythologized over time? That the core message of the story, one of God's intervention and salvation, can be seen as a powerful symbol of hope and redemption. By understanding the cultural and historical context of the text, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the story and its significance. The Bible is full of such examples, where science and scripture intersect in surprising and beautiful ways. From the Psalms, descriptions of the natural world to the prophet Isaiah's depiction of the universe's origins, the Bible is full of references to the natural world that can be seen as scientifically accurate. One of the biggest misconceptions about the Bible is that it's anti-scientific, that it dismisses the natural world and our place in it. But nothing could be further from the truth. The Bible is full of references to the importance of observation, experimentation, and discovery. In fact, many of the earliest scientists, such as Galileo and Kepler, were devout Christians who saw their work as a way of uncovering God's creation. One key insight that illustrates this is the concept of the firmament. For centuries, people believed that the Bible taught that the earth was flat, and that the sky was a solid dome above us. But is this really what the text says? By examining the original Hebrew and Greek texts, we can see that the concept of the firmament is actually a complex and nuanced one that doesn't necessarily contradict our modern understanding of the universe. In reality, the Bible is full of references to the roundness of the earth, from the way ships disappear over the horizon to the description of the earth's curvature in Isaiah 40:22. By understanding the language and culture of the time, we can see that the Bible is not anti-scientific, but rather, it's a text that celebrates the beauty and wonder of the natural world. So what's the takeaway from all of this? That science and the Bible aren't mutually exclusive, but rather, they complement each other in beautiful and surprising ways. By understanding both, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the world around us, and for the amazing complexity and beauty of creation. The challenge of reconciling scientific findings with certain literal interpretations of the Bible is a daunting one. Many people believe that science and the Bible are mutually exclusive, that they can't coexist without one contradicting the other. But is that really the case? I think it's time to take a closer look at this perceived dichotomy. For centuries, people have been trying to reconcile these two seemingly opposing views, often with disastrous consequences. Misinformation and misconceptions have led to a lot of unnecessary conflict and division. One of the main reasons for this conflict is the literal interpretation of biblical texts. Many people take the Bible at face value, without considering the historical and cultural context in which it was written. This can lead to a lot of misunderstandings and misinterpretations. Science, on the other hand, is all about empirical evidence and observation. It's a constantly evolving field that is open to new discoveries and modifications. So, how can we reconcile these two vastly different approaches? The key, I think, is to understand that science and the Bible are not mutually exclusive. In fact, they can complement each other beautifully. By considering the historical and cultural context of biblical texts, we can gain a deeper understanding of the science behind them. Let's take a look at some specific examples where science and the Bible intersect. One of the most fascinating ones is the concept of the firmament. In Genesis, it's described as a solid dome above the earth, separating the waters above from the waters below. But is this a literal description, or is it a metaphorical one? From a scientific perspective, we know that there is no solid dome above the earth. So, what's going on here? Or take the concept of creation itself. The Bible describes creation as a series of miraculous events, but science tells us that it was a gradual process that took millions of years. Are these two perspectives mutually exclusive, or can they be reconciled? Another example is the concept of the flood. The Bible describes a global flood that covered the entire earth, but science tells us that this is not possible. Or is it? Could there have been a local flood that was still devastating, but not global? The point is that science and the Bible are not mutually exclusive. In fact, they can complement each other beautifully. By considering the historical and cultural context of biblical texts, we can gain a deeper understanding of the science behind them. One of the most common misinterpretations of biblical texts is the concept of the sun standing still. In Joshua, it's described as a miraculous event where the sun stood still in the sky for an entire day. But is this a literal description, or is it a metaphorical one? From a scientific perspective, we know that the sun can't actually stand still. It's a massive ball of hot, glowing gas that's constantly moving. So, what's going on here? The key to understanding this passage is to consider the cultural and historical context in which it was written. In ancient times, people didn't have the same understanding of the universe as we do today. They believed in a geocentric model, where the earth was at the center of the universe. So, when the Bible describes the sun standing still, it's not meant to be taken literally. It's a metaphorical description that's meant to convey the power and majesty of God. Another example is the concept of the firmament. From a scientific perspective, we know that there is no solid dome above the earth. So, what's going on here? Is the Bible contradicting science, or is there something else going on? The key is to understand that the Bible was written in a different time and place, with a different understanding of the universe. When the Bible describes the firmament, it's not meant to be taken literally. It's a metaphorical description that's meant to convey the power and majesty of God. By considering the historical and cultural context of biblical texts, we can gain a deeper understanding of the science behind them. We can see that the Bible is not meant to be a scientific textbook, but rather a book of faith and spirituality. And that's a key insight that can help us reconcile science and the Bible. In conclusion, the key to understanding the relationship between science and the Bible is to consider the historical and cultural context of biblical texts. By doing so, we can gain a deeper understanding of the science behind them, and see how they can complement each other beautifully. So, what do you think about the relationship between science and religion? Do you think they're mutually exclusive, or can they coexist peacefully? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to check out my next video where I dive deeper into this topic.